This is your SWOT analysis. That might sound a little bit of intimidating, but I hope you already read stage 3 in the book and you kind of know what we're going to talk about here. But either way, I'll give you a synopsis of it. SWOT is an acronym, stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. SWOT analysis is something that I used a number of years ago in business. It was actually a tool that was given to me by my business coach. The idea behind a SWOT analysis is to identify things that you're going to be able to use in your life to your advantage and things that are in your life that are acting as a weakness or as a threat that you need to prepare for or counter. And when I looked at this and I decided to use this in health coaching and in weight loss coaching, I thought, what a perfect tool, because we're constantly battling in our life to find balance and to try to compensate for weaknesses and threats. And those things are oftentimes getting in the way of us reaching our health and fitness goals. So what a fantastic tool to use. And it works very well. So let's look over this and see how we can use the SWOT analysis to help you reach your health and fitness goals. First of all, strengths and weaknesses are internal. That means they're things about us, inherent things about our personality that we probably just have. All of us have certain strengths, all of us have certain weaknesses that are just part of us. They're things that we deal with or that we're able to use about our personality to help us move forward and gain things that we want in life. And then opportunities and threats are external in nature. Things that aren't part of our personality but are surrounding our life. They could be things in our family, things in our job, things that are affecting us but from an outside source. And those we cannot control, but we can put things in place to counteract them or to leverage them. So let's look at strengths and weaknesses. And I'll just give you a couple examples so you kind of know the direction that we're going here. Let's say one of your strengths is you're a highly committed person. Remember stage 1, week 1, we talked about the 3 P's and the 3 C's, and you were supposed to list your 5 positive attributes. Well, now you're seeing where you're going to be able to use this. So go back and look at those 5 attributes about your personality. What strengths do you have there that you're going to be able to leverage so as to meet your health and fitness goals? Well, let's say one is commitment. You're a very committed person. You've been married for a number of years. You have stuck to the same job for a long time. People view you as a highly committed person. And let's say one of your weaknesses is you really don't like exercise. It's just, you hate it. You don't even need to hide that. I just don't like exercising. Okay, how can your strength offset your weakness? Can your commitment be stronger than your dislike of exercise? If you set a schedule for yourself to be at the gym at 9 a.m., to be at a group fitness class on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, will your commitment level, not just to yourself, but to the group fitness instructor, for instance, or to a personal trainer, or to a person that you're going to be working out with, or your workout partner, will your commitment to those people be greater than your weakness, your dislike of exercise? Well, if not, then we need to find something else that's going to work. But you can see how that would work. You take your strength, and it will be stronger than your weakness. But what you need to do is write those down. Write down your strengths, write down your weaknesses, and then we're going to see which strengths are stronger than the weakness column and find out how we can leverage those strengths to beat the weakness. Opportunities and threats, again, those are external in nature. So here's a couple examples. An opportunity that's an external one in nature is you've had a job change, or maybe the schedule changed in your job, and it's opened up more time at a time that you like to exercise. That's not quite as objectionable. Let's say before you had to get up at 5:30 in the morning to exercise, and now your job is allowing you to go to the gym at 7 o'clock when you're more awake. That would be an opportunity. Or your employer has started to subsidize your gym membership. Well, there's a great opportunity to entice you to exercise more. Somebody has come into your life that enjoys exercise and they want to partner up with you. That would be another opportunity. The threat may be that you have a family member, or you're surrounded by family members or friends or coworkers that are always trying to get you to eat their bad food. They bring it to the office, they're constantly cooking it at home, and they make you feel guilty when you don't indulge in the stuff that they're eating. That's a threat. That's from the outside. Now, what are you going to do to counteract that? Well, you're going to look at maybe some strengths that you have, such as your level of commitment, or you're going to look at opportunities that have been presented to you to maybe not be at the office when people are bringing those foods in. Maybe you can leave and do some work off site. I don't know what it is, but you won't know until you use the tool to write your strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities down. It's your SWOT analysis. So take some time to fill in as much as you can in those boxes in the book, or just make a list outside of it, and start seeing what strengths you can use to beat the weaknesses and threats, what opportunities you can use, again, to beat those weaknesses and threats. I can guarantee you that you've got strengths and opportunities that you weren't even aware of, that you haven't been leveraging, and once you're aware of those and you start using those to your advantage, you'll be able to minimize the weaknesses and threats in your life. That doesn't mean they go away, but it means that you will now be able to have the upper hand, and you'll be able to start reaching those goals that you've been setting. Your homework assignment for this week is email me or text me your list of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And if you have any questions, if you're really hitting some roadblocks and you need some more suggestions, please ask and we'll see what we can do to help you start filling in those boxes. It's a tough exercise, but when you start going and when you start really evaluating your life, you're going to see that you've got a lot of things working for you. You just didn't realize that they were there, and they're going to benefit you in the long term. As always, please contact me if you need anything this week, and otherwise, you'll get your next video next week. Have a great week. We're going to spend just a few minutes on the reason behind that 500 calorie deficit per day, where that comes from, why that's best for weight loss, and some of the functionality of that. First of all, something that you need to know is the number 3,500. This is a little bit of a review from the other video, but 3,500 calories equals 1 pound of body weight. That could be a pound of fat, a pound of muscle. It doesn't really matter for this discussion. What we're looking at is trying to create an environment where you're going to lose 1 pound of weight per week, and that is 3,500 calories. Well, how do we get there? Well, you need a deficit of 3,500 calories below what your body needs to maintain its weight to lose that pound per week. Well, the easiest way to do that is to divide that 3,500 by 7 days in the week, and you have 500 calories per day of a deficit that you need to create in order to lose 1 pound per week. That's the science behind it. Now, there will be times in which you plateau. Maybe you're right on with your diet and exercise and you still don't lose weight, and that'll be in a further video, but and some strategies on how to overcome that. But generally speaking, all things being equal, which they rarely are, unfortunately, when it comes to our body and all of its complexity, but all things being equal, if you had exactly 500 calorie deficit per day, you would lose a pound of weight a week. Now in a moment we'll get to why I think that is a very important number to shoot for, that 1 pound per week. Because you're probably thinking, I sure would like to lose a whole lot more than that every week. But we'll get to that in a moment. That 500 calorie deficit, as is discussed in stage 2 part A, can be achieved in a few different ways. Oftentimes people try to create a calorie deficit only by adjusting their diet, and that will promote weight loss. But I have my clients try to get that deficit with a combination of calorie reduction in their diet and increased activity through exercise and just through greater movement throughout the day. That does two main things. First of all, it means that you're not going to have to restrict your intake quite as much. So that takes the edge off of that dieting feeling. If you're used to eating a certain amount of food, to greatly restrict it is mentally and emotionally painful, and sometimes even physically uncomfortable. You'll feel hungry more. So if we can reduce your intake by not such a dramatic amount, it's a lot easier to handle mentally, emotionally, and physically. So just hypothetically speaking, let's say you started burning an extra 250 calories a day that you were not burning before, and you were doing that through increasing your overall activity throughout the day, standing more, walking more, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, parking further away in a parking lot, going into the store, and through actual specific type exercise. And that would actually be a pretty small amount. 250 calories a day is not too hard to reach by putting just more activity and getting some exercise in. But let's say you just averaged that increase per day, and then you consumed 250 less calories per day. Well, you would have a 500 calorie deficit from where you were before. There's something else that you're going to have to take into consideration here, though. If you've been gaining weight consistently going into this program, you're going to have to create a greater deficit of more than 500 calories, because let's say you've been eating 500 calories too much, over what your body needs. Well, to promote weight loss, then you would have to cut out those 500 calories and find another 500 calories to restrict from your diet, or to restrict and exercise out of your diet. That would be 1,000 calories, and that is a distinct possibility for some people. But the fact of the matter is if you've been eating too many calories, we need to cut those out anyway. And you won't actually be physically hungry by taking out those extra calories and bringing it down to just what your body needs. You may emotionally and mentally be hungry at first because you're breaking a routine or a style of eating, but in all actuality, bringing your calories down to what your body needs on a daily basis, you cannot be hungry, physically speaking, and you'll adapt to it. And then we cut from there to create weight loss. Now, why the 500 per day? Why only 1 pound of weight loss per week? There's a couple of reasons. The first is it's really safe. You're not doing anything drastic. You're not going on an ultra low calorie diet. You're going to be able to maintain more of your muscle than if you were on a highly restricted diet. The body has a tendency to catabolize itself. It's called, you go into what's called a catabolic state, where your body, in search for nutrients and search for energy to run the metabolism, will actually start cannibalizing your muscle. That happens quite a lot on ultra low calorie diets. What I mean by that is low calorie diets that are typically under 1,000 calories per day of total amount of calories you can eat. A diet that has been really popular over the last few years that requires supplementing a hormone either through injection or orally has you only eating 500 calories per day. When you're only eating 500 calories a day, you're literally starving yourself. And your body searches for energy to run its bodily functions. It'll use some fat, but when you are eating that few calories a day, it's also going to use your muscles. That's its easiest source of protein and amino acids, which it needs. So we're not going to do that. We're going to make sure that you are eating enough calories so that your body still has enough fuel to keep you moving, to keep you from being lethargic, to keep you feeling good. And that's just a healthier way to do this. The other issue is that we don't want there to be a whiplash effect, so that when you come off of this restriction, suddenly you're whiplashed back to a former lifestyle. If you lose a whole lot of weight in just a couple months, it has nothing to do with lifestyle change. It just has to do with a diet that has forced you into eating very few calories. But your mind hasn't changed. Your emotional makeup hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is you weigh less. That's not what this program is about. The Care to Be Fit, Hate to Be Fat program is about changing your lifestyle so that when you hit your goal weight, you will stay there forever. You won't be yo-yoing up and down, up and down. You will have learned how to eat, learned how to exercise, learned how to have a well-rounded, healthy lifestyle. That takes time to implement. So over the course of a year, or even 2 years, if you've got a large amount of weight to lose, you're going to be losing that weight, but you are also going to be learning a lot about how to live a healthy lifestyle. So that's a bit more information on why that 500 calorie deficit is so important for weight loss. And of course, if you have any other questions about it, please feel free to get a hold of me, email, text, use Facebook, Twitter, whatever mode works best for you, and I'll answer any other questions that you have on this. Until next time, have a great week.